I'm Derek.
And I'm Jonathan.
We like beer.
We're a podcast by beer lovers, for beer lovers, with beer creators.
Some of our best stories start with beer. And now it's time to make beer the story.
Each hoppy pour has been on an often unexpected journey to become the brews you love.
So pour another round and drink with us as we explore the stories behind your favorite beers and breweries. And if you like beer, like breweries, like some bad jokes and great puns, and like this podcast, be sure to subscribe so you can learn about all our upcoming breweries on tap.
Welcome to this week's episode of Pour Another Round, where we're here to discover and share the stories behind the breweries filling up your glass. This week, we are here in Appleton, Wisconsin at Vault 202, right on College Avenue, Appleton, Wisconsin, with Scott and with Chris, and we're sitting right inside the vault here at Vault 202. So thanks, guys, for coming on the podcast and joining us tonight.
Thank you. Right.
All right, so take us back to your beginnings. How did you guys get into the brewing industry, and which ultimately led you to being here at Vault 202? Scott, you want to go first?
Yeah. I've been in business for about 25 years now. I always loved the art and the science behind it. So when I graduated from college, I looked for a brewing job right away. The early 2000s, there wasn't too many breweries out there, so I was hunting a lot. But I found sort of a volunteer internship gig up in Duluth. I was there for about 6 months and met a bunch of people in Minnesota, and finally got a first brewing job at the town hall in Minneapolis. I was there for a couple of years, and then I got my first head brewing job at Great Waters in St. Paul. And working for small brew pubs, you could only get so high and make so much money. So I started looking for other ways to expand my knowledge and my career. And my gang out in New York was looking for a brewer, so I applied. Turns out that the head brewer at the time out there is Randy Thiel, who's now at New Glarus, but he's from like Kiel, Wisconsin, I think.
Yep.
So we met up in Fond du Lac at a bar and had an interview over Christmas. So by that next spring, I was moving out to New York and was a shift brewery there for about 3 or 4 years. It was a really rough time to be at Omegang because they were going through a boatload of expansions and it was a lot of work. And it was literally, as soon as I got there, Randy moved up to the office and we just worked on expansion projects. And then it was me and one other guy down on the floor brewing all the beer. So I kind of got burnt out, I'd say. And then I moved back to Wisconsin and tried to become a real estate agent in 2008. And
That's a rough time to do that.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that.
So like, you know what? That wasn't so bad.
Go back to beer.
There's a movie about how bad of an idea that was.
Yeah. So soon after that, like within a couple of years, I realized that I am not cut out for this. And it's, even the most talented people have a hard time doing that time. So I reached back out to my friends at the town hall in Minneapolis, and it turns out they were going through a little bit of an expansion. The laws at the time of Minnesota were weird because if you're a brew pub, you could only make beer for other locations that you own. You couldn't put anything on the shelf. You couldn't distribute anything. So they started opening a couple of satellite taproom restaurants. And they needed somebody to help manage those. And so I moved in more of a front of house role. So I did that for about 10 years. And then my wife really wanted to move to Colorado. So in 2018, we moved out to Colorado for 5 years and worked for Station 26 Brewing in Denver. And that ended up being a little bit more on the brewery side, but still in more management, like operations and logistics. So it's been a long time since I actually brewed a batch of beer. So that's why I really needed Chris to help me out at Vault 202 because he's a knowledgeable, educated, and talented brewer. So now we're here and we're making beer in Appleton. So it's exciting.
I think before we get into his background, you were telling me before we started recording that you went to school with science and you got a science degree, ultimately biology and chemistry.
Yep.
I found it interesting that one of your ideas was maybe to pursue becoming an optometrist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the correlation between drinking too much beer and not seeing straight is worth noting. So
Interesting.
kind of went the opposite way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I liked science, and when I was taking classes, I didn't really care for human biology necessarily. I was more interested in cellular biology and microbiology. So I just feel like that's sort of the way my life went, and I didn't want to get into a career where it's going to cost you $80,000 or $90,000 for work or just to get your degree, and then hate what I'm doing every day. So now I just don't make a whole lot of money, and I'm poor. But I really love what I'm doing. So it's all right.
I think you're real desperate. Maybe you can have a little optometry.
Money involved.
Went through all the safety classes. Chris, so what's your story? How'd you end up here at Vault 202?
So when I was freshly 21, I was going to school in Big Rapids, Michigan, just north of Grand Rapids. Was not going to school for anything science related, so it was more marketing, international law, and like media management. A lot of different things that I thought that would give me some sweet job.
Law and marketing is different paths you could have taken.
But yeah, I needed an internship before my senior year of school. I grew up in the northwest, very far suburbs of Chicago, and Revolution Brewing in Chicago was still pretty young, and they were doing their first round of this kind of brand ambassador sales kind of gig. So I scored a job for the summer there. And kind of took over the McHenry and Lake counties, all their accounts out there. So I was doing beer sales essentially for that summer. I quickly realized that the beer industry is super cool. And I really enjoyed it. So when I moved back to Big Rapids, there was a local brewery in town. And the first few weeks back at school, I just went in a couple times a week, trying to sell myself to the brewery, tell them I could be whatever. And finally, the head brewer there at the time, Adam Mills, who is now infamously famous on YouTube as Adam Makes Beer, shout out Adam Mills. But he took me in, and so I just started cleaning kegs, running the bottling line. It was a little 5-head machine that he's probably a lot to a lot of brewers, and it's some PTSD there, but yeah, and just kind of worked my way up slowly from there. Quickly realized, wow, I wish I would have went to school for science. But I was still super into it, and it was starting to bring out some creative side of me. So from there was a short little blip, but essentially I ended up at Stormcloud Brewing in Frankfort, Michigan, which is more north than Big Rapids. It's right on Lake Michigan. It's a beautiful part of the Lower Peninsula there, which is west of Traverse City, just on Lake Michigan, literally. So when I got hired on there, the walls were just going up on their new production facility. So I was kind of hired in to kind of help the pub transition into a production facility. So it was a big learning curve, but I learned a lot really fast. And then we got the production facility rolling, canning line rolling, distribution rolling, and started hiring more. So then I was kind of put in charge of starting a lab, and fortunately we hired somebody who was a lot smarter than me at that stuff. It was really cool to just be a part of that for a little bit. And I'm just there on after for little intermittent spurts. But I kind of helped lead the charge on their pilot system. So doing a lot of experimental beers, that's kind of where I learned a lot about just ingredients and yeast, hops, malt, what they contribute to beer and what differences they all have. So I led a lot of experimental beers there. I helped them start their mixed culture program, which I don't think exists anymore. right after I left, I think they shut it down. It was kind of, he let me have my little passion project. So that was cool. So yeah, it was all mixed culture, front beer, sour beer, a couple fooders. I had a bunch of barrels. It was really fun. But yeah, Storm Cloud helped me learn a lot. And then kind of just reached a plateau there. And as much as I miss that area and that place every day, me and my partner had moved. So we came over to Wisconsin for an opportunity that we thought was the right thing. And it turns out it wasn't. But it helped me find some kind of loop in our cross paths with Scott here. It was
We have a shared traumatic experience.
Yeah,
Former
it was
brewery
just-
that we both worked at. So it's
but it kind of is nothing that brought us together. So I did a year at Interland up in Green Bay. Very much production beer there. It was a learning experience in its own. A lot of new equipment and tools that I've never used before, and probably, maybe, hopefully, will never use again. But I learned a lot. So yeah, and then our paths crossed last spring, and started talking about this, and yeah.
And here we are, Roll 2. So you moved to Colorado, Scott, in 2018,
correct.
and then you moved back to Wisconsin. Obviously back to Wisconsin. Here we are. So when you were in Colorado, what led you back to Wisconsin, and what led you ultimately to want to open up your own brewery after you had worked for numerous other non-ownership level breweries?
So I would assume most people who work at breweries always think that they want to open their own at some point.
That's a
Until they do. I guess I was always the guy who was like, I can learn a little bit more if I take this other job. That's a different opportunity. I can learn a little bit more. Now I feel more and more comfortable every time when it gets to the point where I actually move or open up my own place. And of course, you can learn a whole heck of a lot, but if you don't have any money to do it, then it's really difficult too. So finally, I left Colorado because there was just a bunch of family issues, basically. All my family is back here in Wisconsin, including my wife's family too. So in-laws were getting a little bit older. My brother went through a little bit of a health scare, and I just didn't want to be 1,000 miles away from home anymore. So we moved back here. And then I found an opportunity at a brewery up in Door County. Worked there for about a year, and that ended tragically. So I was free to do whatever the heck I wanted to. And an old college buddy of mine was in Appleton, and a good friend of his was looking for another opportunity, a post-career thing to transition out of big corporate life. And it just ended up being a perfect opportunity for me, a brewer, my buddy's a builder, and the other guy is a savvy businessman. So none of us are stepping on each other's toes at all. We all know what we're good at, and we put together this place way quicker than I thought we were going to. And we found the right people to do it. So we had a target to be open by Mile of Music. It's a huge music festival here in Appleton, and if we weren't open by that weekend, we'd have lost out on $1,000. So,
that weekend of what year?
It just last year.
2025.
Yeah. So
Brand new year.
So really our first soft opening day was July 26th, I think. And then we opened, not advertising to the public on July 31st, which was the day before Mile of Music.
Because why would you not want to open with 1 million people at your front door? That sounds like a good idea.
Me being new in the area too, and hiring all of these people to work for me or work with me, and I don't know any of them. I'm really hoping I can trust all of them. I'm really hoping that it's all going to go well, and it's been great. There's been a few hiccups here and there staffing wise, but overall, our leadership team, I think here everybody is very good and passionate and knows what they're doing. So it's been about as smooth a transition I can possibly hope for in this ways.
So what did that initial conversation between you, a builder, and a businessman friends, but like, how did that even come about of sitting around drinking some beer? Like, hey, you guys want to
So
do this or what?
yeah, when I first moved back here, I I was living with my in-laws, and I was just helping do some remodeling projects. So they were old and they needed a nicer bathroom. So whatever. So, but I got, like, you don't have with your in-laws so long.
You drink a lot of beer.
Yeah, I love them, but I needed to get back to work. So I found an opportunity up in Door County, which is, I kind of always wanted to live closer to the lake anyway. Just as after living in Colorado for years, you get spoiled with how great the weather is. And living by the lake, a nice cool breeze off the lake, there's no humidity. And so anyway, so I was talking to my college buddy, the builder, and he's like, yeah, I got a friend who wants to start a brewery. What do you think? It's like, I literally just took a job. So, sorry. And then 11 months later, they shut down the whole brewery up there and fired the whole production staff. So I gave my buddy a call, said, hey, is your friend still interested in starting a brewery? So they got the wheels turning really quickly. Like, I met this other guy. Within 6 months, we, found a couple of places that we wanted. Within another 6 months, we started construction, and 6 months later, we're home. So it's a year and a half.
Fast time.
We go from the spark of an idea, to brewing our first batch of beer, which I think is borderline unheard of in this industry. But yeah,
Borderline insanity.
that's it. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of work, and I was living an hour away at the time too, so I'm driving back and forth here.
You live in Door County at the time?
Yeah. So it was very stressful. So, but now it's super easy, right? Nothing more.
Well, and I want to talk about kind of the decision on location and stuff too. But at least before we finish our beers here, tell us about the beers that we're drinking. Talk about some of the beers that you have and what it is that we're drinking here in Nine Glasses.
So you two over there have the Franz, which is our main pellets. So just a very traditional German style pale lager. Using all German heirloom malts, German hops, and a very, very classic German yeast strain. So there's a beer that you can only buy in Munich from a brewery, Augustiner. That's just that's the goal, is to even touch a glimpse of what that beer would be. So that's a gold standard for sure. But I have the beer name. Yeah, I'm sure you did even better at. So that's the Helles, and that'll probably be kind of a rotational with our pale Kolsch beer that I have in a fermenter right now. So I'm kind of rotating a German pale beer all the time. And we have here our German Schwarzbier. So very similar, but just dark. So all German malt. And then just a touch of this specialty dark malt that I add at a very specific time in the process to not impart much roast, but really just pull that color out of it. So I think it drinks pretty well like a German Pilsner, just you look at it and it's black. So yeah, same thing, German malt, German hops, and German yeast strain. Just above 5% over there, under 5% here. I think that's kind of where we're heading right now, is about 5%, give or take. German style easy drinking beer. We both very much enjoy that. So we're seeing at least those styles kind of take over the taps at least 50% of the time so far.
Sure. Okay. So, stepping back into, okay, you're opening a brewery, the discussion's been had, you're searching for locations. How did Vault 202 end up where it is now on College Avenue in downtown Appleton?
So we looked at a couple of different locations. We for sure wanted to be in the Appleton area, because I think the Wisconsin brewing industry is relatively strong, but it just seems like Appleton is a great place to be right now. Opus coming up here next summer or this summer too. So it's, there's a lot of really good and professional and educated brewers that live up in this area. And I think people enjoy drinking beer in Appleton, obviously. So we looked at a couple of other locations around town, but when this place showed up on College Avenue, like literally right in the heart of the city, it was hard to turn it down. And then we actually have 30 parking spaces out in the back of our building that are dedicated to us. So that's also unheard of in downtown Appleton. It's really hard to find parking usually with street parking. There's a few ramps around here that's you never have to walk too far, but to have something right out your back door is great. So
Right.
that is a big thing. And the Appleton Downtown Inc. does all these events around here. So it's even if we're not physically or not actually trying to set up anything ourselves, there's always something going on in downtown Appleton. So it's just the heart of the city. It's a great place to be, and it's helped us out significantly. I don't think we'd be as successful as we are if we were in a different location. I know the beer would still be great, and I know the people that we work with would still be good, but it's just it's where we are. It's a big real side.
Yeah. So obviously, Vault 202, we're sitting in the vault. But talk about that, how that discussion went of determining the name of the brewery and how Vault 202 came to be.
There's a few different people who start breweries. Either you've been thinking about it your whole life and you have this whole marketing plan and strategy and maybe build something from scratch and you have this name that you've always thought of. I literally just wanted to start a brewery and I didn't care even where it was or what the name of it was really. And we came up with all sorts of other ideas for this place because Houdini Plaza is right across the street. So maybe a skate brewing company or some sort of other bank themed name to it. But
It was an escape room down
yeah, there you go. But it's a big vault. And the address is 202. It's just worked for Station 26 Brewing Company, which is a fire station number 26. And there's a Station 1 Brewing Company here. And the name is important, but I don't think it's something that we felt like we needed to obsess about. We didn't want to get too keep with it. Just this is just what it was. Yeah. So, and I think the logo turned out really good too. I've always liked logos. It's going to take years for us to get to the point where someone just looks at our logo and they know exactly what it is without any wording on it. But a Great Dane Brewing Company, Madison's a prime example of just that Great Dane. Every time I see it, I know exactly what it is, and I don't need any words underneath it. So it's just little things like that I think worked out really well for us.
So when you walked into a former bank from 1960s, I believe.
Yep.
What was the building like? Did it look like a bank, or had it been other businesses along the way, and you walked into it being somewhat turnkey, or was it like? Obviously, we have the safety deposit box, and we got the vault door.
Yeah.
But what you walk into here?
The building itself at one point in the early 60s was full of probably 100 plus people lived here in the bank. Now money isn't real. It's just a bunch of numbers on a computer. So where it was 100 people, now we have 8 people that work in a small corner of this building. So the rest of it is wide open. A landlord or an investment company bought the building. They're putting apartments and short-term rentals, Airbnb stuff on the second and third floor of the building. And then we're on the main level and the vault is in the basement. So I'd say when we came in here, it was been empty for about 3 years, but it was just a box. It was a white box. And the floors were still beautiful. They had little carpet glue and stuff on them that we had to clean up, but it's old terrazzo tiles on the floor. The walls upstairs have these big 12 by 12 ceramic tiles that are probably 2 or 3 pounds each, and they're just really weird, ornate. So when I think of the 60s, it's exactly what I got. So some great woodwork around there on the pillars and some marble. So we tried to, whatever character was still here from the bank, we tried to keep as much of it as we possibly could. But again, this is one of those places that said we threw it together really fast. So a lot of the walls are blank right now, and we need to kind of start building a little character to this place. It's very functional and it looks great, but just add a little life and a little character, a little personality.
Well, yeah, I think the personality character, the safety deposit boxes back here are original and just a cool ambiance touch to the obviously being in a vault. The vault door is also
Door, yeah, it's like you come down the stairs and there's the vault over there. It's something about that.
I think, you know, we obviously have a railing walkway coming into the vault so that the door can't close. But if the door did close, do you have the code to the vault?
Slightly terrifying. There's another back door over here. And in an emergency, there's like a air ventilation system. Yeah, we had to keep the door open just for safety reasons, because once you get that thing going, it's really hard to stop it. And then obviously needed a van for 88 points, so we did leave it on here. So
You should have a safe car in here. You can figure out the code.
there you go.
Italian job. So, we're sitting here in the vault too. We're talking before about spaces is reservable down here, but also people can just come in and hang out down here and to drink beer and be with their people too. Talk about kind of your tap room space as well as we've kind of talked a bit about the vault space, but talk about tap room space and what people can experience of this new vault.
I think that's something that Chris and I go back and forth on all the time. Like what is our identity, or who are we? Because we're both just passionate about beer and we want a comfortable space. For me, a bar is always a traditional meeting space. I don't care if we have like beer specific events that come here and meet beer 101 and I just want, if you want to play Magic the Gathering, I want this to be your clubhouse. So when you come here, have fun, grab a couple of beers. So it's always about that, just being part of the community. I think is the most important thing to me, and whatever we can do to facilitate that for people is we'll do that. So
I mean, the trivia tonight, right?
it's trivia tonight. Yeah,
Some kind of community that's
exactly. So we're working on our first couple of festivals actually. Since we're 202, it's going to be a 202 day. So yeah, I mean, technically for us, it's going to be on the 31st because it's a Saturday. But I think, I don't know, in the future, maybe I'd like to keep it on the February 2nd. But also, I know it's a fan.
there you go.
Chris is from Woodstock, Illinois, which is where the movie was filmed too.
It's the full circle.
Yeah. So all these.
Yeah.
You're talking about your identity and kind of what Vault 202 is striving to be or wants to be or is eventually getting to. You talked about the two beers that we're drinking here, very traditional German beers, but then you also alluded to your brewery that you were at in Michigan had this weird program of sours and just getting funky with it. But you're kind of traditional out here. So do you see yourself ever venturing into some weird funky stuff, or do you like the identity of just beer?
I would say I like where we're heading right now, and not that passion has left me. I do find myself gravitating towards just easy drinking traditional beer, and I think me and Scott both gravitate towards that right now in our lives. And I think that's genuinely where all the trends are pointing in the industry as well. So providing just mid-strength, lower ABV beer, high quality, something that's for everybody. And again, fitting with that gathering space, the kind of German beer hall vibe. We're hoping to have a bunch of soccer matches. We're already showing a lot of soccer matches most days of the week. But yeah, I don't know about bringing that stuff in. I mean, we're working with some yeast strains already that from past experiences can really ruin a brewery, but from experience, you know how to work with it and treat it and make sure it doesn't get into anything else. So we like Belgian beer as well, and sometimes that can get a little weird, but yeah, I like weird good. It's good. I think from what my experience, what I know now, if we could find a separate space to do those things, yeah, we would be all about it and get a real barrel program going and stuff like that. But our space it is what it is upstairs, and it's nice, and it's a little cute little brewery, and I want to keep it nice and clean. And so,
Well, you have the tap room, you have like random barrels throughout and talking about like, what's aging in here. So yeah, you don't have a full barrel program, but you have, there's cool aesthetic to what you guys are doing too, and making it work for what it is.
Yeah, we try to remind ourselves that we're only 6 months old.
yeah.
So, you can't have a full-on barrel aging program or cellar program after 6 months unless you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and start out there.
Yeah, so I saw the soccer scarf upstairs. Who's the soccer fan here?
Where's
Our similar Tottenham myself both scarves up there.
I was a Tottenham fan passively, but the Borussia Dortmund fan.
Oh, okay.
More German so.
Those said you drink your beer.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I get it. Don't say no more.
I get a couple of English beers on periodic.
I was on the fake that thing up.
It looks like it. They're undefeated.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh no, they're undefeated in the Champions League too.
Yeah.
So they're active season.
Yeah.
Yeah, my other business was for this information. So
Okay.
the baby has both.
Yeah.
Feel free, but contributions coming on here. So, well, why don't we pour another round and talk about some more of the other beers that you guys have available here at Vault 202 and what's coming for beers.
Sounds good.
Have you heard? The 4th annual Pour Another Round Outdoor Winter Beer Festival is coming to a new venue in 2026.
March 21st, 2026 at Hinterland Brewery, right next to Lambeau Field. Join us for unlimited pours from 15 plus breweries, food vendors, brewery and Pour Another Round merch sales, and much, much more.
You can get your tickets now. They're just $40 in advance or $50 at the gate. That gets you a commemorative tasting glass, unlimited tastings from 1 to 4 on March 21st.
Head to pouranotherround.com to get your tickets now. Please drink responsibly and take advantage of free designated driver tickets.
All right, so Chris, we've all filled up our glasses again. Upstairs in the tap room.
Poured another round, if you will.
Poured another round. Tell us about the beers that we are drinking now.
Yeah, so you two have White Baron. So that is kind of just a Belgian white-inspired beer. So heavy on the wheats. And I used one of my favorite strains from yeast producer in Chicago. It's actually sourced from Lithuania, from this small little producer out there. I've been around the past 60 plus years, and they source this yeast strain from her. So it's very unique. When I've used it in the past, and I've enjoyed it so much that I brought it back here. So it gives off a lot of lemon character right off the bat. Some black pepper. It dries up really nice, but for how much it dries out, it still provides. It's called glycerol, so it's in layman's terms, it just provides mouthfeel. So there is kind of a fullness to it, even though it's just bone dry. And then I added some orange zest just to top it off. And I have Pomona flowers. We try to keep a couple IPAs, hop forward beers on as well because they sell. So this was just an IPA that I used a yeast strain from our friends at Almond. A lot of biotransformation capability from this yeast. So it's Idaho 7 and Nelson Sauvin forward. Those are the two main hop zones here. And this is kind of what's on as our hazy right now. And then you have Fulcrum of Time and Distance. So that beer has a lot going on. it was a really fun collab that we did with our.
Is this the one that has like 6 people in the collab?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it was a good time. But my buddy down at Pax Sparrow in McCall, Indiana, Colt, we've been friends for ever since I met my now fiance. Congratulations. They were friends growing up and whatnot. So finally got to brew beer with him, which is awesome because he's also a professional brewer, and we talked beer ever since we met and talked about brewing beer together, and finally got it to happen. And then we got some vendors up here. So our friend Tori from Involvement Brewing, she's out of Chicago, and John Luke, who is pretty infamous in the Wisconsin beer scene. He sells Prairie Malt and some stuff through Valley Co-op, which is right out here. Yeah, he's
It's true. Yeah, I mean,
These guys?
we were there at the same time. We're a part of the same group.
Well, John Lutz was there for 7 years.
No,
Let's go for 9 years.
no wonder I was there at the same time. I don't know if I was at the beginning or middle of the 7 years,
But yeah, that idea has a lot going on, and I kind of riffed off of what Colt's doing down in the Pax Sparrow. So I used a lot of new ingredients and products that are newer to me, and it was really cool to use them and learn from them. And we'll probably use some of them going forward, and probably not as much next time. But it's a pretty cool.
So, Chris, you went to school for marketing and international law, and you just talked real nerdy. So, is that like self-taught, or have you always like had a passion and maybe had a palate for this, or did you just literally pick it up along the way because you thought sound beer was cool? Like your knowledge is very deep.
Nice. I think I genuinely have had a passion for science deep down my whole life. I just unfortunately have the wrong people, or the people that I just didn't gel with when it comes to the like classes in high school and whatnot. So I kind of just gravitated away from it. But I go back to Adam Middles, who I worked for first in the beer industry. You can look up on YouTube, Adam Makes Beer. He's the most passionate person about anything he's talking about. But he really taught me a lot. And I think beer is super cool because you can talk about each ingredient individually, nerd out about all of them, and then put it all together and wait a couple weeks and then taste it, or taste it even every single day like I do, and freak out. Going the way I thought it would, but yeah, I think beer is super cool, and
Beer is for sure way cooler than high school science. Just so we're all.
But at a certain point in my life, I got really into fermentation, so it went beyond beer, and I got really into homebrewing kombucha and making large batches of sauerkraut, kimchi, anything fermented. I was doing it. So I think fermentation as a whole is kind of my passion, and beer is obviously my career, but fermentation is kind of where my passion lies. So I have done a lot of my own self research on a lot of that. And yeah, it helps to be around beer people all the time to find out. Yeah.
So we've talked about kind of the traditional German beers, and your passion of fermentation, but talking about the beers that are here at Vault 202, and we've talked about a few different ones, but are there certain ones that have kind of, you're navigating your own, right? So, but to this point, are there ones that people have really gravitated toward, or ones that have, in a sense, become flagship-esque, that people have really jumped on board?
I would say, yeah. I mean, I think people are really digging. Keep going back to like the easy drinking pale lager beer. Our Kolsch is called Hans. So that's the first beer I've actually brewed the second time now. Just in a short 6 months. So it's again, like the industry is telling us that people want just easy drinking, high quality, flavorful beer. And comes to find out Germans have been doing that for a while. They know what they're doing. So I think it's cool when, people are just as excited behind the bar running and Polish. It's just a feel drinking beer and they're super stoked to drink it. And that's awesome because it's really simple. But like if you make it really well, it's really good.
Yeah. Which I personally love that the English is kind of coming back to that. They have for years. It was throw everything at it, like how hoppy can you make your IPA? They say it is. How dank can this beer be? How many different hops can you go? Whatever. To see the trend to just beer tasting beer, easy drinking beer. Like first thing, really glad about it because I that's some of my favorite beers too. I just have
Yeah, and we're hoping to did a lot more things as well. We kind of Scots share a history in Belgian beer making. So we see, yeah. Here they're making but so we didn't know there's also Belgian inspired. So most of my time there, production batches or LCs is Belgian yeast. We have 3 different Belgian instruments. So we do all everything from all the traditional Belgian styles and Belgian IPAs. We don't see a lot of these guys.
We're still trying to figure out the Appleton's and beer drinker too. Sure. I don't want to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall. It's whatever.
Yes.
But we have our underlying passions of like push on people and say, hey, we should really like Alice because it's a great beer.
It's your prerogative.
Yeah.
Well, you got some great resources nearby too. I feel like Flagship, Secret Factory, and you guys have done it with right up to 8 with Flagship real nearby.
Yeah, when we first unbanned, we obviously the goal was at the brewery open at least a month before we open the doors, get some beer brewing. But it's ran into some regulations and some inspectors and all sorts of things. They made things very difficult. Because my business partner is a builder in the area, knew that we were going to probably run into some problems, but I think we figured it out pretty early that this wasn't going to be as great as we wanted it to be. So we have some good friends down at G5 in Beloit. A good buddy of mine that I brewed with in Colorado, or in St. Brewery in Colorado, it was Troy Brewing. So we made a collab with him. The guys here in Appleton. So Sway, Matt up at Sway helped us out too. So we opened the door and we really technically didn't have any of our own beer on tap, but we had 6 collaboration brews on tap at the time. So still felt like we had a part of what was going on, and
You're involved.
yeah. And Chris has done such a good job that like within another month and a half, every beer off tap was ours in some way, shape, or form. So turned out awesome.
Well, I had a first beer experience today that built to. I have never heard of that or had none. Talk about that, and it was phenomenal. I after before you explain it, after I drank it, it's a tall pint glass, a height but skinny, full of foam at the tube, and your beer tender puts in front of me as a shot. Maybe like you ever done the car bomb? But it was phenomenal, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, so first of all, we're gonna have to do one of those all together before the show ends. Yeah, so that's well. Yeah, so if we have these faucets, two of them upstairs. Luker is the company. They're out of the Czech Republic, um, and they are essentially just sidewall faucets that you would find at almost every establishment in the Czech Republic. That's just how they traditionally pour their beer, with these specific faucets. Instead of, the standard faucet of being on off like a light switch, this is kind of like a dimmer. So you can kind of control the flow a lot more. And at a certain point, you're controlling foam, and it's creating wet foam because there's actually a screen. Very similar to like what a nitrogen tap or the nitrogenated beer tap would be, but a little different and finer. So it's creating this much thicker, denser foam that lasts a lot longer. It's almost, it comes off as creamy. So there's a brewery, I think it's on the East Coast, Human Robots, that started this trend of tubes. So there's, we offer the 3 traditional Czech pours in our mugs. The Haltinka, it's just kind of like a standard pour. It's like 2 fingers of foam on top. The Schnitt, which is, I think it's a third beer, 2/3 foam, and just a little space on top. It's kind of like a snack beer.
And I was just in the Czech Republic over Christmas, so 2 weeks ago, and that's like unlimited lunchtime. Yep. So all the workers literally like a lunch break and go drink a Schnitt, a beer.
Just a little shameless plug here.
You get all that.
Meet at Fulton, let's go do tomorrow.
So a little shameless plug. We're doing our 202 day on the 31st. We're doing $2.02 pours of our Schnitz, the same color. But then there's the Lico milk pour, as you would say. And that would just be a mug full of foam, that dense foam. So Americans have taken it upon themselves to create the tube. So traditionally, like a Stange glass is what they serve beer in Germany. That's like what they serve Kolsch or alt beer in. But we decided to fill it with foam and shoot it. Some of my favorite breweries have been doing that for a while. So as soon as we decided to have some liquid taps on us, since we had to know about this, but our staff has embraced it. So you put one on like they will do one with yes. Yeah. So
it's very cool.
Yeah.
So in addition to the beers, having great beers here in the milk tube, so you also have pizza.
So I guess just looking at the industry in general, where we think it's going, just maybe between Chris and I, but is I think you need to have some sort of food component to your brewery where you get food trucks or have it here longer. Yeah, it does. So it's and I get it. It's just it adds this level of complexity to a business that in our brewery you don't really have to manage your kitchen. So I knew that since I have a pretty long experience in the brew hub part of the industry. But so you knew that, but definitely knew that. Yeah, I know. It's good for you. I think if you talk to any brewer who starts their own brewery, you're like, God, I don't want to do that. I just want to make beer. Turns out I have to hire Chris to make the beer for me because I'm doing dishes. So, yay. But
All your dreams are you?
yeah. But one of my other business partners, he would go to this pizza joint down where he lives, 20 miles south of town here, and just love the pizza there. So we actually reached out to that guy to see if he would help us out, be a kitchen consultant to kind of get things up and going for us. So he said yes, because he was looking to kind of figure out different ways to expand his business too. And pizzas are spectacular here.
they really are.
It's just heard earlier that National Geographic magazine came out with their top 7 pizza places in the country outside of Chicago and New York, just excluding those 2 cities altogether. And our own pizza in Oshkosh was in the top 7 countries.
And he's cooking pizza here.
He's cooking pizza here. He's consulting on it. I mean, he's not here every day, but he trained the entire staff. It's all his recipes. So
And it's wood-fired pizza. They have one of those classic.
It's brick oven based. So we can't do wood fire just because the way the building is set up. We wanted to have a pizza oven right in the middle so it could be more of a showpiece for everybody. But because of that, the exhaust for it, it's kind of like
That code guy comes back.
the worst. It's like 100 feet worth of venting to get out of here, and they just didn't want to open fire in the middle of the building. So I mean, it turns out great. The pizza oven was, that was a whole other story too, because we got it in pieces from Italy and we built it as a management team together. It was like a team building puzzle. Yeah. We're never doing this.
Did everyone? It's still working.
Yeah, it was a labor of love. Let's say. Each individual piece will be between 3 and 5 pieces.
Well, between the beer and the pizza, it's the middle.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah, I know it smells really great walking in some mornings, and I know exactly what they're like 5 p.m. They do the onions, the mushrooms, they do everything. We saute. So like some mornings I walk in, it's an onion day. It's a mushroom day. It just smells. See what happens.
The pizza guys walk in, it's a hot day today.
So, for both of you, looking back at the last 6 months, you've been open 6 months. What are some things, but not being new to the industry, having come into a lot of experiences. What are some things that maybe have surprised you or that you've learned along the way of actually having your own space in the last 6 months?
Chris looks like he's got.
Is this like how much time do we have? Kind of.
Yeah. It's not, for me, it's not so much a surprise, but for me, I'm feeling a lot of gratefulness to be in this position. I think the last year and a half or so, before coming on here, I was starting to really feel a burnout. Like Scott had mentioned, he had in his career at one point.
So just for context, what year was your senior year of college?
My senior year of college would have been 2015.
You've been in the industry for 10 years.
Yes, yeah.
What?
So it's been a long time, and I mean, obviously not as long as a lot of other people, but
Like Scott.
but yeah, coming straight out college and just going right into it. There's a lot of great ups, downs, but I just found myself in a hard, tough situation the past year and a half. And it was really tough. And I thought a lot about getting out of the industry for a while, and really close to at a certain point. So I think for me, the surprise has been just like so grateful that opportunities like this do exist. And for me, I found that writing recipes again is definitely a passion of mine. So I'm very grateful that Scout always aims to do that. To just figure that I want to make. I think it's just finding your passion again and saying or feeling that same thing out there. There are places, there is opportunities. Just keep going. But if you're being taken advantage of, don't. So
there are definitely soul-sucking places.
yeah.
Yeah, just again, me being in the business as long as I have, I'd say I worked for mostly very good ownership groups, but periodically it's just like I really don't work every day. I don't see the way to do it anytime. So part of it, I really want to do the best I can to make sure everybody has enough money here, but say that about the place. Passionately. The things that I'm passionate about, so actually too.
But not so unless you want to go tea.
All right,
Talk about where you're.
Yeah, so we got together with a local metal worker craftsman to do a couple of the photos around specifically a large setup of the tap room, and then also designed the tap handles, which if you ever into the tap room, go down by the vault, you can see the gears in the vault. So that's sort of art, and it's little like it's gorgeous. But they were extremely expensive to make.
So because they're so expensive, you give them the
I know.
all of your house.
Oh, and I have yeah. So I have. I know their bird horns. So we're in the process of getting more economical made ones to do a little bit more distribution, but I don't think the industry was going towards distribution for us. It's already a go on. We'll try to do, limited cans or bottles maybe, and then if we can be in 20, 30 different pieces, great. But as soon as you get a little bit more than that, it's gonna be a full-time job or somebody will do distribution and sales. And to be honest, because we're downtown in Appleton, it's just like how confined our space is, it might be more of a logistical nightmare to be big distribution breweries.
Ideally, we get on the other side of that too. Location can find you, but also you're not out of the states. Or you need to get your name out there. Maybe so much, people are seeing downtown Appleton. I feel people that are down here are for, but see go 202. You have that leg up there. We're seeing all hands. You're not having to go that extra step. Yeah, you need to get our name up there. We're going to find this, right?
So far, some of the distribution has been, well, Crystal is up a Green Day, so he goes by going a lot golf. So we have a on our kitchen manager, Andy, is down in Oshkosh, so there's a couple of ways. He's in Oshkosh, so down there. So it's more of a team effort at this point where I don't pick up a keg and bring it down to this place by my house. Well, it makes sense. It's very soon. So that's what we're doing right now. It might get a little bit bigger. I mean, really, the only reason that we want to have some more distribution outside was let's make it. Yeah. Because I'm sick of it over and over again. The first you do it,
So you're saying to help Chris out, everyone should put the ball 202 and drink more beer.
yeah. He's getting lazy.
Is there anything on the horizon for Vault 202 that you want to talk about? Anything that's coming down the pipe as you head toward, the 1 year of being in existence?
Are you more ready for Milo music this year?
I figured, yeah. I hope so. And then I just reached out to the Mile event coordinators or whatever, just to see about getting our name on the list and what we have to do. So, I mean, we're a big enough venue that I think we can have a small band down here for 1 hour and a small band upstairs. So
Of the Vault.
Listen to the podcast, we'll find out.
But that'd be cool to have a performance down here in the hall.
it's still, I mean,
And if they suck, you can just lock them right in.
that Saturday on Mile of Music, have only been open for 4 days and it's still our #1 sales day. So it's really, we've had some very good days since then, but wow, we're brand new right out of the gate and it's still one of our literally our best sales day ever. So yeah, looking forward to Mile of Music, obviously. We're doing our 202 day. We're having our first beer dinner, killer beer dinner. So we're going to have a really long table right down the middle here. We're only selling 30 seats at this point because we just kind of look at kids whipped out.
Do you have a full kitchen, or where's the dinner portion of that come from?
So we're making everything up. Well, we literally only have a pizza oven. That is the only cooking apparatus that we own. So everything is going through the pizza oven. So we have to design the menu so cook it and then hold it hot.
Right.
Certivate. So we'll figure out that as it happens. But it's but hopefully we can do beer dinners every quarter or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. Exactly. So it's not gonna be good stuff.
So Andy's going on the food menu. He's really working with some of the beers that I have on tap right now. Then we're doing like a special one-off for that like dinner to, taste for sale, to get started for sale.
Yep. You have to either call in or stop in. So right now we're just taking reservations and credit card information and just holding it so people actually show up.
What is the date of that dinner?
It is February 5th. Starting at 5 o'clock, come down, you gotta
Shortly after 202 Day.
exactly.
That's a couple of weeks.
So yeah, we're working with one of our liquor distributors too, Jefferson Bourbon, and we have a cocktail, old fashioned as we walk in the doors. So loosen up a little bit, and then there'll be 5 different beers, 5 different courses.
Yeah, nice things. As a quick aside, you guys have a full bar upstairs, and that is the reason they have a law change in the state of Wisconsin. I believe you're a brew pub, so I guess that's changed enough for you. But regardless,
Yep.
beer drinkers come here, but also bring your non-beer drinkers because there's a full bar upstairs as well. That might be the funnest thing I ever said. Malort on tap is my name. But yeah, so full bar here.
Yep. So yeah, it's kind of been our model in general is we have limited offerings, but they're all super high quality. We only have 12 beers on tap, but ideally there are 12 spectacular beers, and you're going to find one that you like. We have a very limited food menu, 5 or 6 specialty pizzas and wings, a couple of salads. Nothing extravagant, but it's, everything we do well. Like nothing. I hate going into a restaurant and there's 4 pages of stuff on it because everything is going to be mediocre. It's disappointing. Just it helps when you're in a bigger city because you can focus a little bit. You don't have to be everything for everybody. But it's the same way with our liquor menu. We don't have a traditional rail whiskey. It's just we have a very good whiskey. If you want whiskey,
That's the more.
yeah.
You invited me back here. This is what you get.
You give a large shot to your altitude.
Now we're talking. Now I'm talking.
Chicago got
Oh, there we go. I'm in. I guess I will add on to that. Keep an eye out we're going to start hand bottling some regular lager here. That's the plan. We're hoping to sell more to go here through the tap room to start. Right now, the way we're selling to go beer is we're just filling cans off tap. It's not ideal, but if you are buying it, drink it fresh. That's it's Crowler-esque, but it's 16 ounce. So you can buy a little 4-pack and crush one by yourself, no problem. But yeah, crushing But yeah, we are going to be starting to bottle slowly. And ideally some of our European beer. So
part of the impetus was we're going to send out some beers to the World Beer Cup, and we wanted to figure out what the best package format is.
And those will last all longer than the way we're filling cans right now. So keep an eye out for those soon. So bottles are ordered.
Yeah, everything's really labor intensive.
We talked to a lot. I feel like we've talked to a lot of breweries, and the bottling process seems to be one of their least favorite parts of the job. So
Yeah, that's for sure.
I hope it goes well. Thank you. So the last question we always ask on Pouring It Around is if you're not drinking your own beer, what type of thing you're drinking? You guys have worked for a lot of different breweries and kind of come up through the industry. So whether it's from one of those or someone else.
And Scott has a UW lacrosse graduate. I would be very disappointed if you do not say Old Style.
So I'm going to date myself a little bit. But definitely drank plenty of old style. When I was there was a beer called Old Style Classic Draft, and it was a black can with like a, I don't know, a gold triangle on it, and it was literally
That's cheaper. Yes.
It was cheaper than soda. It's like 24 cents a can. And it was good, man. But it was awful. But it's what you can afford when you're in college kids. Eventually, roommates got together and we bought an old refrigerator in a draft.
There you go.
But yeah. So my beer,
Repainted the world's largest six. It's more of a draw now.
is it back to old style or is it sitting?
Yeah, no, I think so.
For me, since I lived so much of my life and did so much brewing outside of the outside, I was nostalgic for Wisconsin beers. So anytime I can get my hands on Nomad, that's the beer that is immediately getting my refrigerator. Coors Banquet and Miller High Life bottles. And then I'm a big bourbon fan.
Is Jefferson number 2?
It's okay. Like,
Oh boy. We got that on. Yeah,
it's very good.
It's so good.
It's a great base for every cocktail that we make here. So it really holds its character really well and all the other stuff that we're
They're really good at telling the story about the equator in Jefferson's Ocean.
Yeah.
Genius work.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, my favorite one nostalgically is either Woodford Reserve or Elmer T. Lee. And it's just because one of the breweries I used to work at, we would go down to Woodford all the time, and not all the time, but every year, and we would like select our own barrel of it. So you get to sit down at the big table and with the master distiller and blend your own. So just that, in and of itself, I guess, was just the experience of drinking.
For sure.
Is like
Alright, ready? So we also always keep Miller High Life in bottles in our fridge, and a bottle of Aperol ready to go for spaghettis.
2 hours. Is that knowledge and Aperol? Highlight and Aperol, a squirt of lemon juice.
Don't cheat your love. Really? Never had that. I've had an Aperol spaghettis. Get a bottle of High Life.
But why spritz it when you have knowledge?
Take a swig. Add a shot of Aperol, a little squirt of lemon juice, swirl it up.
right to the bottle.
Yep. And you call it what? Spaghetti. It'll change your life. I don't know.
Other than that, hams on ice.
Ooh, is that a hands like on the rocks? Oh, you got some left field stuff.
Usually around the 4th of July time. Well, that's the only time.
Derek, our other co-host, will really appreciate the hands in, so I'm just gonna go for the honest.
Usually,
The last time I had hams, I was in the Minneapolis St. Paul airport, and I ordered Surly, and then she's like about to pour it. I was like, whoa, hold on, do you have hams on tap? And like literally everyone on this full square bar was like, they made fun of me for 5 minutes. You gotta just chill. So I appreciate that answer. So you'll find all of those afterwards. All of that.
It's part of my bath. That's better.
Yeah, that's spaghetti. It sounds a little like medicinal.
It's good.
Yeah.
All year round, very good.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, that's a year.
Like if I didn't see it, that would.
Well, Scott and Chris, thanks for joining us on For Another Round and having us here at Vault 202 in the actual vault. So, hanging out, talking about your beers, talking about how Vault 202 came to be. Congrats on getting through your first 6 months. And I think the next 6 months and beyond is everything you dreamed of.
Thank you very much for having us. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Get
guys.
some milk tubes.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.